Good morning, folks. Happy weekend. It's Wilson, and I want to make a quick video on some of the swing trade setups that you can use to identify stocks that are overbeaten and that they have a potential to go back up. So, swing trading is something that I like to do a lot. I swing a lot of stocks, like for example, Snap is one of my most favorite stocks to swing, mainly because if you look a little bit more further back, that was a 7 day. You can tell that there's a lot of upwards and downward trends, and this spike was mainly due to a news that they released from, I think it was an analyst upgrade into a buy. So it spiked up, and this is a really good potential swing trade, right? This stock in general, if you look further back at its trends, is always up and down, up and down, and you always want to catch it at the down when it comes to swing trade. Now, swing trade doesn't mean you have to hold it for 3 months or 4 months or 2 months. You can do it for just a couple days. Some people do it for a week. My typical range is I like stocks that move a lot with a good ATR so that the price changes a lot. And I like it when there's a lot of volume, a lot of momentum. And those are the stocks that I particularly like to swing trade. I like to hold it for no more than 3 days to 1 week max. Sometimes I do a 1 or 2 day swing trades if you see my trades. And most of the time I profit off them because I like to catch them when they're low. And I like to catch it when there's bad news about it that just drops it down. But it doesn't mean that this is a bad company or a bad stock. One of the first things you have to know about swing trading is that unlike momentum trading, where you're trying to catch on a day trade and to get the quick 10-20 cent profit, you want to know at least the basics of the company. You want to look into all the stuff that's free online, such as their news, what the company is about, how it generates revenue, and you want to have like a solid understanding of their future growth. Is there potential for future growth? So when it comes to swing trading, my personal rule, again, you don't need to follow this. Everyone has their own styles, but I don't like to go for stocks that are under like $2 or $3 because those just aren't stable, and the chance of it going back up is just very hard. And such as like biotech stocks, those are very hard to swing unless you're doing for a 1 to 2 day swing after like a conference or some sort of trial news, FDA approval, something like that, where there's a strong continuation play and is going at its lows for the end of the day, then I will buy in towards the end of the day and swing it for 2 days for the continuation upward trend again. But I want to show an example real quick. So Shopify. Uh, I'm a tech entrepreneur myself. I've used the platform before. I've been in the e-commerce space, so I know how powerful this company is. And it being at such a high price, I mean they're worth it because of the amount of value they provide to small business owners, e-commerce owners, and the fact that they have a lot of stuff in their back end that people don't know about. So like one of their main ways to generate revenue, aside from their subscription model for their e-commerce, is that they have Shopify payments, which allows people to accept payments. And merchant or payment processing is paying for entrepreneurs, and that's the problem they're trying to solve. Another thing is that they have a strong ecosystem for developers to develop on their platform, and a lot of software companies mainly just build apps for Shopify as their main business, and they generate millions of revenues over it, and there's more and more coming in every day. So it's a solid company. Most of the time it trades between anywhere between 117, 116 to about 126. It's always been up and down, and then as you can see right here, what happened was that on a Wednesday, there was some bad news about them, and it was a bad news article, and it just dropped down, dropped down, dropped down. Now, the thing about swing trading is that you want to ride the trend. So even though you know that the stock will potentially go back up because it's such a solid company, and and it was just such a massive drop from an article that shouldn't even affect them, you shouldn't just buy into the stock on a downward trend for a swing trade. And that's very very bad choice when it comes to swing trading. You want to be able to buy on the uptrend. So when the stock starts to recover, that should be your entry point. So let's say that you saw that it was dropping, you don't want to buy in right here. So at the 107 mark, you don't want to buy in there. Because it's still on a downward trend. The company still hasn't recovered from the bad news yet. So that's why people are still shorting it. They're still selling it. They're worried. They're panic mode, and that's where you can actually come in. For example, right here would have been a good swing. You will want to swing upwards, right, for like either the intraday or just a 1 day swing. But then let's say you continue to monitor it, as you can tell, it's still going on a downward trend. Now you know the stock is going to recover. So right now at is the weekend, but I think it closed around like what 94.22. I believe it will eventually go back up to 100 and 110, possibly even back to its normal trading range. But it's gonna take some time to recover. So if I were to swing the stock right now, what I would be looking for is this is actually a stock with a lot of opportunities. I'll be looking for it to push above this resistance line right here. So once it goes above like $98, $99, that will be a time for me to swing it back all the way up to its next gap, which is around 110. So this is a good thing. If you're always aware of the news, you're always aware of what's going on, and this is a hot stock, is a good stock, and you know it's a good company, you know it will recover, you want to take advantage of this for a swing trade, and this could be a potential swing trade setup that you're looking into. Basically, beating down stocks, but don't buy against the trend. So just because it's going downwards, don't be like, hey, I know it's going to go back up to 117, so let me just buy in on its way down. No, you want to wait for the trend to recover, because what happens is that it ends up holding up your capital, and then you don't have enough money to trade in other stocks, right, and make other plays. So just wait it until it gets to the point where it's looking like it's going to break back to its normal range. It's going to be on an uptrend again, and if the company's recovering from the bad news, then get in, right? So that's an example of a beaten stock. Another one that I've been noticing a lot, and this one actually formed a really good U-cup shape that I like. But basically, this one took a drop, and it wasn't because of a bad news on the specific company. AMC is the movie company I'm sure most of us are familiar with. We probably watched the movie at AMC before. But the whole industry dropped. Everything in the movie space. And I think the news had to do with the Blade Runner movie that wasn't doing so well. But basically what happens is that, again, you see it drops, you're like, oh, maybe this is a potential swing for it to come back up and recover from the beaten industry. So again, you don't want to get in because it's still on a downward trend. So even though you think right here at around 1435 might be a good entry point for it to swing back upward because there's a big gap to fill all the way up to $16 and above, you don't want to get in right here. You want to wait till you ride the wave and just keep watching it for a few days. As soon as the industry starts to recover and you start seeing an upward trend to fill up this big gap right here, then you know you can get in, and then you can swing it for the next couple of days or possibly the week where the industry is outperforming, and it'll go back up. So this could be a potential 3 to 5 day swing, and you can take a $2 profit per share. Right now, I still don't think it's the best point to get in, even though it's because it's too flat right now. So there's too much up and down, just trading sideways, and that's not what I like. Once it starts to break upwards past this resistance, I would like to get back in for a swing, and possibly for 2 to 5 days, maybe a week and a half, and watch it go back up. So this is AMC, and I always look for stocks that are always trading at a certain level, but because of a bad news or something happened that it beat it downwards, and I like to buy it back up after it recovers. Another one, you guys, I logged this trade actually, and I was able to profit from this. This was a 2 or 3 day swing for me, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in right here on the 9th, where it was at its lows at about 955. But this is a leveraged ETF, and I made a video on it. You can check out how to trade leveraged ETFs under my channel. But for these, I like looking at these long-term patterns, right? Because for these leveraged ETFs, it always goes up, it goes down, it goes up and goes down. And most of it runs based on, especially you guys, it runs based on how the economy is performing. So economy always goes down and then it goes back up. It always goes down and goes back up. You want to ride the trend up. So what I did was when it got to around, I think it was this date right here, I got in on the 11th on the upward trend, and it actually dropped back down. But I wasn't too worried about this part right here because I know that it keeps this stock in particular likes to form these U shapes, and I love swinging this stock. I love swinging U gas. I love swinging J Nug. I love swinging D gas, and I got in and I just waited for it until the Friday, where a little bit before it hit its highs. It actually hit its highs at around 11:25. But I actually got out a little bit earlier before that on the uptrend. Alert went off, and I was like, okay, I'm out because I don't like holding this stock for too long because it's a leverage ETF. But I did a 2 or 3 day swing, and I think I clocked in a little bit of good profit. So this is another stock that you can always add to your watch list for swing trade setups. And leverage ETFs is really good for this one, especially the ones that form a lot of U cup in its histories. So that was another one. Another one, probably the last one I'll go over, is GoPro. So I love this stock as well. I told you I love swinging like Twitter. I love swinging Snap, technology stocks, all these stuff that like riding the wave up and down. Now it took a very hard beating right here. And GoPro is a retailer company. So what does that mean? We're heading towards holiday seasons. People are going to shop. If you look at the same part about a year ago, uh, at January or so, when the holiday sales were kicking in, dude, their stock jumped up to its highs. And it happens with retailers because they're making a lot of sales in the holidays. You know, there's Black Friday, there's Thanksgiving, and then there's the Christmas and New Year's and people's birthday and all those stuff. But anyway, this stock took a hard beating, mainly because of a news article. So it wasn't an industry drop, and it was because Google released some sort of chip that had to do with some sort of GoPro competitor. Now the thing is that that chip had nothing to do with Google. So if you actually read most of the news, it was just hype. So this stock will recover. Uh, right now, it's still trading lows. I haven't got in this stock right now at this low, but I will be looking to take a position shortly as soon as I see that it breaks out of the support line right here. As soon as it breaks up, maybe about all the way up to about 990, 495, I will try to get in and for the holiday push back up to 11 and possibly higher. So these are some of the things I like to do. A quick recap on the swing trade setups is look at the news, watch the news, look for overhyped news for no reason or some sort of industry drop. Wait a couple days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, wait for it to recover. And then as soon as you see it slowly starting to recover and it's going towards that upward trend, then get in and ride the trend back upwards to its normal price or possibly another higher price. As you can tell, another thing you want to look for when you're looking for these beaten stocks is the volume. This is super important because if there's no volatility, the stock won't move. For example, if you were stuck in Nokia, let's look at Nokia, you're going to be stuck at around this range the entire time. And when it comes to swing trade, I'm looking to take at least 50 cents to $1 per share in profit. And for Nokia, this isn't the case. I mean, it's always been up and down, and there's always been in this slow range of 10 cents. I don't like playing these stocks. That means I'm going to be holding 2 weeks and I'll still be stuck. You know, not passing $6 ever and not going below 580 something, right? So it's just not a good stock. I don't like these stocks. I like the ones where there's high ATR, where there's a lot of movement and a lot of volumes. Another thing you can look at when it comes to swing trading is that you can look at the option train and look to see how many people are betting on the volatility for the options. I mean, that's a little bit more complicated, but every little thing counts. Make sure you understand the company. Make sure you look at like options. Make sure you look at the trends, the past trends a year back. If you don't see any trend and you're looking to swing trade, look 30 days back. 30 days back, you don't see anything, look 3 months back and identify these trends and read the news. All these little things will make you a very profitable swing trader, and it's something that you should incorporate in your training, in your trading days as well. So you don't have to only do day trading. You can use swing trading as a combination of day trading for maximize your profit. Well, I hope this video helped. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel for the latest updates. You can always follow me on Twitter at itswilson8. Thank you for watching, everyone. Happy Sunday.